there. Today we are with Chris Titcomb with Hive Roofing and Solar, but you guys do a lot more than that. What do you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we do. We kind of become Hive Home Services. We like to be your beekeeper. Let if you're the queen bee or king bee of your home.
Be the queen bee.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Yeah.
Manage the business in your home and not the actual asset, because that's quite frankly, it's a full-time job if it's done well. And obviously, you move a lot of property, so you know about that.
Well, and actually this just happened, and then we'll get in more to why we're here today, but this just happened. We have a buyer buying a property, and it's beautiful. They renovated it. It's absolutely stunning, but the report came back, the inspection report came back, and there were a lot of maintenance things that they just, so it's like something can be really pretty, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was well maintained.
Exactly. And people have lives and work and families to manage, and again, you're a parent as well. That's a full-time job in addition to, your job.
The full-time job,
And then, property management.
Right. Well, let's chat, because the reason this even happened is because we were at a one-to-one the other day with Jay, who's behind the camera. And we had a conversation that I thought, man, more people really need to know about this, because it's something that I didn't even put together for a moment. So oftentimes what we see is in this area, we get a lot of hail damage. And it seems like it's increasingly so lately for whatever reason, whatever the
Global
weather
warming
patterns.
Or what? It is what it is.
But we've had a lot more hail damage happen, and it's severe. And so we have a lot of roof replacements. And then we also have a lot of fly-by-night roofers coming into town, which we can get to. But the part that I was intrigued about was we were talking about the type of shingle. So you have 3-tab, you have architectural, and then you also can...
There's a lot of premiums.
Right. You can upgrade. And so you were mentioning that somebody is doing a disservice if they're not telling you about the upgrade. So
that's right. Yeah. So again, one of my guys, we were doing a presentation talking about the red flags for selecting a roofer, because we like to educate people and then, hey, make your choice. If you're well educated on how to choose the right roofer, you're going to choose us.
Okay.
And so we were very proactive with that. And again, one of the top red flags, which was, it was almost a pink flag. We were like, well, is it really red? But it is not offering upgrades of the shingles. And so what you have is the base level shingle 3-tab. It looks like three like Lego
looks like
bricks.
Paper almost.
And it kind of is. There is legislation to try to bring that out of code. Who knows when that'll happen? But again, it's what they call builder's grade. It's the lowest grade shingle. It's on a lot of new manufactured homes.
And best case scenario, best weather, that will last somewhere around 12 to 15 years?
Yeah, best case scenario. And then you have the architectural, which is sort of a 3-dimensional.
Right.
People used to call that a 30-year shingle. Again, that's not technical jargon, but common parlance, it's a 30-year shingle. A lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better than the 3-tab. You're seeing some of the better builders build homes and communities with those shingles, initially. But neither of those are designed to take anything but water and bird poop.
Yeah.
And so in a state that has more hail than any other, in the country, and it's very common. There's been big hailstorms in the
it's been
Austin,
crazy.
Round Rock, Georgetown area. I think there's been one big one every other year for the last 6 or so years. And if you go back 20 years, you can see it's quite common. It's quite regular. They're not designed to take hail, and they're going to get shredded, and so you're going to have to do it again. And so the thing we were talking about is, and something that our company always does, is we always offer the upgrade. And it seems like people don't like pushy salesmen. People don't want to be upsold on stuff that say, hey, I want a roof. My insurance is paying for it. I just want that.
Yeah, as a consumer, you're like, I just want what my insurance is paying for.
That's it. And that's what most homeowners say. And, we politely accept that and say, hey, we don't want you to feel uncomfortable or force into anything you don't want to do. However, let us explain to you some math. And again, roofers, let me tell you what I did for my father-in-law. Let me tell you what I did on my house. Just so you know, because we didn't do this. And now that you're doing this $20,000, $30,000 upgrade, which again, insurance is paying for pretty much all of it. It behooves you to make sure you're going back with the best materials, because insurance isn't trying to make your home any better than it was before. They're legally obligated to put it exactly back the way it was. And did you build your home from scratch? Are you a home builder?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Well, and so here's the thing that really stuck out to me is we were talking about shingles that are like hail resistant.
Yes.
And so I asked you, I said, well, on a, let's call it, I think I said a 2,000 square foot roof, how much additional would that be? And you told me, and I said, well, that's just less than the deductible.
That's exactly the point. And that's what we present, and we lay that out. And, in the next 5 years, roughly, the odds that you're going to need to replace your roof in Texas is very high.
Right.
If you have one of those basic shingles.
Right.
Right. Which means you're going to pay another deductible, which is, let's say, $3,000 to $4,000. You could get those if you pay that $3,000 or $4,000 now. Now, again, you're paying your deductible because the storm just happened.
Right. Yeah.
But if you pay that now, while we're doing your roof, right, you're now adding more value to your entire home because now you have what they call a 40 or 50-year shingle on your roof, right? And when there's a storm in 5 years, it's probably going to bounce that hail because now you have what's called impact UL4 or IR4, impact resistant shingles.
Okay.
And they can generally take hailstones up to 2 inches.
Okay.
Right. And it's very rare. Again, it happens, but it's very rare to have hail above 2 inches.
Right.
1 to 2 inches, very common. You're going to get that. Probably every year.
Okay. So my big takeaway from it was we know that hail is a common event here. We know that, and in real estate agents say this all the time, is if a roof isn't terrible and you can limp along for a little bit, you kind of say, hey, hope for a hailstorm.
Exactly. People who know, who know that that's the right thing to do. I mean, that's what makes sense. Exactly.
Yeah, rather than trying to, because it's pretty inevitable that we're going to get hit with hail. My home, it wasn't a big hailstorm, but this year twice.
Yep.
I had hail.
I've been on your roof twice this year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now, luckily, it wasn't big enough that it did a bunch of damage, but still, those big hailstorms have happened. So one thing that I thought was really interesting is if you're going to live in your home for at least, you expect to live there for 5+ years, then having an upgraded shingle makes a lot of sense, maybe even less because our hailstorms are happening so frequently. But it makes a ton of sense because then you don't have to pay a deductible later and go through all the hassle with insurance and replacing your roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things I get this with a lot of clients who are like, well, I'm probably going to move and upgrade homes in a couple of years. I'm like, well, actually, that's more of a reason to get this done because it's going to make your property sell. Right?
Yeah,
and if you do it
now, a highlight.
And you get it done now and get it done properly now, not only again is insurance covering a majority of the cost, but again, when it comes time to sell your property, again, as you know, it's going to sell fast. You're not going to have to come out of pocket because again, if you wait too long, insurance isn't going to cover it, and that's what most people don't know. They're like, oh, we'll kick the can down the road. We'll get to it when we have to.
What is the statute? Like a year, right?
Again, I can't speak on policy because everyone's policy is different.
Okay.
But 99% of the time, the statute is 1 year.
Okay.
From the date of the storm.
Yeah. Well, and what's hard is a lot of people will say, I'm going to put on a new roof and I want that back 1-to-1 on the sale of the home. And that's not exactly the way that works.
Yeah.
Because everybody expects a working roof.
Right.
But that being said, when you have a really cool upgrade that's going to save a buyer money down the road, you can market that. And the goal is to get a better return on that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you know the numbers better than me, but I think, again, that upgrade, that extra $4,000 or $5,000, I think you'd probably get that quite readily.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this tidbit of information.
Yeah.
I just thought the public needed to know.
Good.
We'll get this out
I do
there.
too. Yeah. Tell it everybody. It's important.
Yeah.
And again, you can often finance those upgrades and just be $200 a month. Like that's very worth it.
Okay.
When you're doing such a major renovation. So yeah.
Right. Awesome. Do you want to give your contact information?
Put my info up for me, please. Use the right number. Don't listen to me.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Hey, that was a good one.
That was fun. We did it. Yeah.
Brought to you by T. Kerr Property Group.